So women owned and women ran.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on, women-owned companies.
Yeah. I've had clients with us. We have 3 that I can think of that have been with us for 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No contract.
No contract. They could they could leave tomorrow if they wanted to.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel like a marketing company is coming to you and giving you unrealistic expectations. Believe it. Like,
yes, yeah.
I will
Believe
never
them.
tell someone we're gonna get you 10 new clients in the first month. It's just not gonna happen like that.
No.
People don't want to be patient.
No.
They want instant gratification. They want to happen right then, right now. And especially now in marketing, because a lot of people are SEOing their websites. A lot of people are now posting video on social media.
Yeah.
The one thing that is going to outdo the other companies is consistency.
Yeah. You're just going to last longer than the other guys. I feel the Holy Ghost in this. Somebody going to get help. Welcome to the Faith Hustle Podcast, where we help young Christians learn how to build their business and careers God's way. My name is Mukwenda. I'm your host. I've been an entrepreneur for almost 10 years. And in that time, I've had the joy and privilege to be able to be mentored by some of the most incredible business owners and leaders that were not only successful in their careers and in their businesses, but also in their family life, in their faith, and every in between of their lives was a holistic view of success, and it was because they did it God's way. And that's the pursuit that we're on. We teach on 5 pillars here at Faith Hustle. We teach on being spirit-led, having integrity, having humility, having a spirit of generosity, and having stewardship. And if those things resonate with you, you're trying to grow like that, in that way of not just wealth and not just money, but you're trying to grow holistically, then we encourage you to tap in with us on this journey. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and share this with anybody that might benefit from this content as well. We want to encourage you as well. Leave us a review. If this content has blessed you in any ways, it would mean a lot. And if you're on YouTube, like the video and comment below where you're watching from. We'd love to engage and connect with you in the comments. And on today's episode, I have a very, very good friend of mine. She's a beast. Seriously, it's actually wild how much she's accomplished at her age. Runs an incredible marketing firm. And we get to talk to Tori Harper today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited you're here. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm feeling really honored and really excited to be here to talk about this.
We're honored to have you. We're honored to have you, seriously. And I know this has been on the docket for, I feel like, almost 2 months. Mm-hmm. But, it's just like you plan it out in advance, but as it was coming near.
It's God's timing, though.
Absolutely.
It's perfect timing.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
I always find that. It's like,
yeah.
And typically it's like the guests that we've had on, they have something going on in their life, or it's like, or they're learning something new, and so they get to share something new that they're learning. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I'm excited for whatever that is. So
yeah, I'm super excited.
It's gonna be good. So I want to start, first of all, kind of how we know each other. We went to the same church for a little bit. And you were in the basketball league. I have to tell this story because genuinely, how tall are you? You're
like 5'2". I say 5'3", but 5'2.5".
5'2.5". We'll call it 5'2.5".
Yeah.
She legit was we had a men's basketball league. She was balling with not just grown men, but tall men.
Yeah.
And holding her own, drawing fouls. I was like, who is this? And then I meet her family, and they're equally as competitive.
Yeah.
Yelling at each other.
Yeah, but it was my brother, me, and my dad playing that year. So it was intense. I was playing with my brother actually on that team, and we got into it a few times.
Oh, I saw. Y'all had to be split up a few times.
Yeah. Honestly, we're very competitive.
Yeah.
Have you done the Enneagram?
I have.
Okay, so we have my dad, me, and my brother are all 3s.
Oh.
So we're all very much motivated by approval, and it can be negative, it can be positive, and then my mom's an 8. So
Okay.
she's the challenger. So we're all just very lot.
Just aggressive. Yeah.
So being in basketball league together, it was really fun. It was a really good experience.
Yeah.
But I'm retired now. So
You're retired.
I'm letting my dad and my brother go for it.
And they won't take it on.
Yeah.
They won't take it on. No, that's how kind of we got to know each other, and we served in different areas before together, and then we got to talk about business, and we've actually done some business together. You run with your family an incredible marketing firm in the kind of, I guess, North Fort Worth area. I don't know what you call that area.
Yeah, it's Keller, on the verge of Keller and Fort Worth.
For those who don't know what it is, North Fort Worth, big. That's why I said you're going towards Denton. You know?
Exactly.
But yeah, you guys have. And how long have your family's been running it for?
So we just hit 13 years.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And I've officially been with them for 10.
Wow.
So
your 10th year.
Yeah, my 10th year.
My gosh.
Yeah.
That's not no small thing to stay at one place for 10 years.
Yeah.
Most people are like 2 years and I'm out.
I'll say this: my first 2 years, I was like an intern.
Gotcha.
I was like scanning receipts and doing the little stuff, but from there, it just grew. So.
Now you're running the place.
Yeah.
And the one thing I was impressed with her, and the reason why I had her on was, the amount of business you guys do, as far as the amount of clients you have in the different verticals you guys do. You do a lot in medical and all those different things. I was impressed just by the operation. You guys have your processes down, systems down, very structured, organized. And I was also impressed of how you guys, as competitive as I know you guys are, and you guys work in such a amazing dynamic. For example, I noticed, I was like, you don't call your mom.
No, I call her Heather.
You call her Heather.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is strategic. This is that's smart. And so that's honestly, I'm like, I want to get into your story.
Okay.
But I do want to get into that because there might be some people here. Not everybody comes from a family business, but family business has its own unique challenges. It's unique.
Yeah, it's been a journey. Honestly, we've been through a lot to get to this point. But family business is. There can be some weird dynamics, and we've had to learn along the way. I've only been calling my mom Heather for 2 years now, so it hasn't been the entire time. I actually had a mentor suggest that to me because we were crossing some boundaries within the business. So once we started doing that, it just kind of separated business and family a little bit, which was interesting. So I started 10 years ago with just internship while I was going to college.
Okay.
And so I went to college in Seattle for a
really?
year.
I didn't know that.
To go play basketball. Yeah.
Man, baller. you are a baller for real. Yeah. It makes sense.
So I went to go play basketball. College was not for me. I think if we say it as entrepreneurs that we are not good employees.
Yes.
And I think the same thing crossed over into college a little bit. And so it was hard. To that transition without family up in Seattle. I didn't thrive in the environment, and it was a huge culture shock. So came back home, was working in the family business, still going to college, and one day my mom came to me and said, I want you to work full-time in the business. You're really gifted in this. I think you can help. And so I just made the leap I said it was going to be a year. Well, once you say I'm just going to take a year off, you never go back.
No, I said that when I moved to Michigan. I legit.
Yeah.
I was only going to move there for a year. I'm from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to do a gap year. I'm going to do this internship in this ministry, just a year. 1 year turned to 8 years. 1 year turned to 8 years, and I never went back. I had a scholarship waiting for me. It's no longer there.
I mean, you could check.
I could check. I don't know. I don't think they want me. Yeah. And their tuition is definitely not what it was then. But anyways, that's where I started at. I fully.
1 year turned into 8 years.
Oh, 8 years for you too?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So here we are 8 years later.
8 years later.
I would never go back.
No.
So we had to work through a lot of things family wise. My mom will be the first to tell you she's fired me 4 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
For real?
Actually, yeah.
Dang.
And one lasted, I think, 6 months. And I tried to go figure out what I wanted to do. And my gift was always in business. I'm just really good at processes and procedures, and hiring is a really big gift of mine too. Just hiring for people first. And so when we were able to split family from business, that's when things really started to thrive, and when our business started to take off a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I think too, through that, I wasn't saved until I was 25.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, yeah. What? I know parts of your family's story, but I didn't realize you were a part of that. Wow.
Yeah. So my brother's story, if you've heard it, which you can probably find it, he tells it all the time. But yeah, he was saved at 15, and we're 7 years apart. I'm 7 years older.
Gotcha.
And so the time I was like 21, not really in the family dynamic a whole lot, and so shortly after, my parents were saved and they got baptized. And funny story too, because they got baptized, I wasn't saved yet, and I went and got baptized because I thought that's what I was supposed to do.
Wow.
And I know that there are probably a lot of people out there that might do that because their family gets baptized and they feel like they need to be baptized. I didn't know what salvation was yet. And so then I went into freedom.
Yes.
And so
your dad was so the church we were at, they have this thing called freedom, which it's powerful. You go through a group and a book, and you go through just kind of inner healing and scripturally, and just kind of breaking down, I don't know, just different stuff, bitterness or whatever you might be going through, unforgiveness.
Yep.
And then they conclude on this thing they call Freedom Weekend. Your dad was one of the leaders, and I remember when I was in it. Yeah. No, it's crazy. I remember seeing it, and I'm like, when I found out the story later, I'm like, man, that's crazy. So anyway, so you went through freedom.
So I went through freedom, and that was the weekend I was saved.
Wow.
Someone actually, through the speaking your prayer language, took me through the salvation prayer through that.
Wow.
And then
what a way to salvation. That's amazing.
Because I think I asked the question of, I don't think I know Jesus like I should, or something.
You're like, let's start there.
Yeah. I was like, before we get into this, let's start here. And so she was like, have you ever said the salvation prayer? And I was like, I don't think so.
Wow.
And then she took me through that, and then I was able to hear her prayer language, which was really beautiful. And it was just snowball effect from there.
Wow.
And so that was when I was 25.
Wow.
So that was 4 years ago now.
My goodness.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. No, that was when I was 24. So yeah, that was like 5 years ago now.
My goodness.
Yeah.
What a journey.
And so that dynamic was happening while we were doing our family business.
Okay, so you were in it, hired, while that was going on.
Right.
So yeah, so what made that shift then?
So once after salvation, I also had to learn what it was to walk with Jesus.
Yes.
And so I think those are two different things. You have salvation, and then some people it's a 180. If Jesus wants that to happen, that's exactly what's going to happen. For me, it was more of a slow transition of learning how to walk with God. So
that working out your salvation, the sanctification process. Yeah, exactly.
And so through our family business, I was actually able to see my parents walk with Jesus, and I think that was really, really beneficial, and that within itself that stopped a lot of the chaos that was happening before.
Wow.
Where we were fighting a lot and we weren't meeting, like we were butting heads, and we couldn't come to agreement. And so once my mom was meeting me with more grace, I was able to let things roll off my shoulder and come to her in more of a way of like, let's talk about this in a calmly manner, because it doesn't have to be a fight every single time. And so that after salvation, I'll say I didn't get fired after that. So
Jesus changed it.
Yes.
That's actually fascinating to because I grew up saved all my life as far as in a Christian home. I think sometimes you can take that for granted. I know I have in the past.
Right.
But I think that's so cool. The thing that I don't get to see is something like you saw of like a night and day difference of like, this is pre-Jesus, like us doing it on our own, in our own strength, and then us relying on the Lord and literally seeing like we treat each other different. The environment is different. Like we
loved each other better.
Wow.
And we were just able to show God's love and not try to show like our own love.
Wow.
And we were just more grace, more calmness. I say it all the time. I'm like, I have more peace now. And it was so chaotic. I would never go back.
Wow.
Because it was just chaos.
Wow.
And now it's just like peaceful.
I love that.
Even in the where we're not agreeing, we're able now to be like, okay, let's take a break. Let's go. Let's go and like think about this and then come back together. And it's just way more peaceful.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And I think I honestly, I genuinely feel this as you're talking. I'm like, I think this gives hope for a lot of people because some people might be newly saved or still kind of searching in their journey. And I think it gives them hope of like, you may not have grown up, in faith or whatnot, but if you rely on the Lord, like there is a promise of all of his promises in scripture, peace, joy. That also is for our businesses. It's also for our careers. Like it doesn't have to be like everybody else's, where it's just constant stress and constant, and I think that's just beautiful. That's so awesome that you got to experience that shift.
I think a lot of people struggle with bringing Jesus into the workplace, and even as like not an entrepreneur, but as someone who's going to work, they're nervous that if they talk about their faith. And I think that you can see the fruit just by how you walk into your job or into your business or anything like that. And I've definitely seen that with walking. The fruit of that has been so much better than anything I could have ever done on my own,
I love that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. So walk me back a little bit to kind of give everybody context of what you guys do.
Okay.
So you're in marketing, but kind of just walk me through what that looks like. Because I'd love to get into how, on a practical level, how you guys have really created some phenomenal processes and structure. Like I said, like it's really dialed in. I just give a little context of what it is.
Yeah. So a lot of people ask if we do production. We are not a production company.
Yeah.
We are a marketing company. So we do website development. We have a full process where we bring you on. We're very custom too. So we're not putting you in a box. You're not going to get a website that's going to look like a million other websites out there.
Yeah.
So we're very custom to your business. We meet with you. We get to know your business. We get to know your goals and who you are. That connection, that relationship piece. Relationship is actually one of our core values. And so that's huge for us. And then after the website, we do require that people build a website with us. So then we move into the digital marketing space.
Yeah.
So that because most people want SEO. Well, I can't SEO a website that I don't know the inner workings of.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah. And so then we do the SEO, we do social media marketing as an add-on. It takes a lot to be good at social media marketing and doing well. And so a lot of manpower. And so social media marketing, any kind of ad buys, Google, Facebook, things along those lines. But we put together a custom strategy for you. And then another thing that is true to us is we don't do contracts. So a lot of marketing companies will do year contracts, 4 or 5-month contracts. We don't. We want you to want to stay with us because we're doing a good job, not because you're contracted into staying with us for a certain amount of time.
I'm curious. How, did you find that led people to be with you longer?
We've had clients with us. We have 3 that I can think of that have been with us for 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No contract.
No contract. They could leave tomorrow if they wanted to.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, in my world of video production, like contracts are like, you don't even consider that you want it, the deal, until they sign on pen.
I think it's a little different for production though, because you're putting in a lot more upfront manpower than we are. And so for us, it's a month by month basis. We're switching the strategy monthly for them.
Right.
We do ask, like when we sit down and we're like, they ask how long will it take to see results. We ask for 90 days. Yeah. We're like 90 days, but we're not going to contract you in for 90 days. Tomorrow you could go and lose your business. We're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
So we're a little different in that sense, but it's just worked for us. And we've been able to build relationships a little bit better that way with our clients, and they trust us.
I like that.
And I'm able to be on a little bit of a deeper level with our clients because of it. And so we've thought about changing it here and there, and I can't. That's like our core value of our business. So
hey, one thing that there's a principle there of like, because you know how many, the amount of times I've been in businesses and, you know, they have their values on their wall and you're just like, that's cute. But like,
are you living it?
Yeah, no one's doing it. It's just like they hired a marketing company to say like, hey, what should we say? But it's like when it's actually, no, like we're seeing it through so much that like, no, we're not doing contracts because we value relationship over contracts. That's different thinking.
Right.
But in of itself, that's kind of your edge.
Yeah. And my passion in marketing is seeing other businesses succeed, not to just do the work. Like I want to be able to market your business so you can feed your family and so that you can feed other families and employ more people. And that's my passion behind it. Yeah. And that's why I got involved and our clients will send us like family pictures and things like that. Awesome. And so, and we're really involved. I just went out and did a little social media thing with one of our clients and was able to meet his family and get to know his family business and things like that. And so that's been my passion behind it the whole time.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, in marketing or anything, you are in the people business.
Yeah.
And it's, you almost have to, and I'm also curious with this, because of that, are you more selective of who you choose to take on?
Absolutely.
Because if it is a people business and you're running like that, you almost have to be like, no, like it's not just like, hey, we need your money. It's like, no, are we going to be a good fit? Because I want you to be a client for 10 years.
Yeah.
How do you determine what's a good client?
First initial sign is if they try to get us to discount anything. Yeah. You're probably not a good fit because at the end of the day, our value, we price to our value and we know that we can get you an ROI. Yeah. We're not going to sell you anything that can't get an ROI. And so that's usually telltale sign. Yeah. And we also get on an initial discovery call and we can usually tell what type of personalities are going to work or not work. We're also women owned and women ran.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on, women owned companies.
Yeah. So there are personality types that just don't work well with that type of company.
That take direction from women or all that. Yeah.
And another thing is we don't work with anyone who does their social media. If they want to hire us for social media, wants to continue to post on their social media.
Got it, okay.
Because it's going to inhibit the strategy, things like that. We just learned the hard way. Yeah. And so there's a few little things that we just don't make exceptions on when it comes to working with clients.
Listen, that first one, let me tell you, I got stories.
Yeah.
A penny pincher will always be a penny. Like, they will be your biggest headache. At least that's what I've found. Yeah. And it's like, can we do a deal? Can we do a little something? And it's like, and I think in the beginning, right, when you're starting, you might be more prone to trying to make deals happen.
Right.
After a while, after you build your credibility, you have enough case studies, you know, under your belt. It's like, you know what, like, if you don't see the value of this, that's okay. Yeah. Like somebody else.
We're not mad.
Right.
We're just not a good fit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like it's always gonna be something else.
Yeah, exactly. It's always, and they're gonna cost you more money than it's worth. And so
talk about that.
Yeah. So usually the clients that come in that we have made that exception for, because we've made the mistake to learn from it.
We always do. Yeah. You get desperate months. And you're like, hey, listen, it's either this or we don't eat. So come on. Yeah.
So say we have 10 clients. We have the clients that have been with us for 10 years. And then a new one comes in that we've discounted. They will email us every day about something that needs to be done, that needs to be fixed, that needs to happen. And so we've just learned over time that they are going to be the biggest headache, and it's going to inhibit labor costs and inhibit all of their clients. And these are good clients that value our services. And so we've just made that decision as a company not to do that anymore.
It's wise. I mean, I think especially in the service business, right? Product's a little bit different, right? But in the service business, 100% of the time, like, you are trying to find your ideal client avatar and trying to like steer away from those who are not, you know, but the pressure comes like, all right, we need a huge influx, but it kind of works against you because if you don't have a good client relationship, like they might not stay for you long enough to get the ROI that's needed.
Right.
And so that doesn't lead to the next deal. It's like it all because it's like, hey, you kind of compromise on your value of what you wanted to work with. And
then you can also talk about reputation management. If you know you're going to bring on a client that isn't a good fit, you can kind of sense that it might not end well. And then that reputation management, they're going to go and leave you a bad review. They're going to say not the best things about your company.
Yes.
When the relationship probably shouldn't have been, the business relationship shouldn't have started in the first place.
Yeah. No, that's so good. That's so good. There's so many gems in there, especially if you own a firm or are interested in marketing, like 100% identify what type of person you want to work with.
Your avatar needs to be even for an avatar for each vertical, needs to be very dialed in. And we've learned that. It's called a perfect client decoder. And I have revised each one probably 6 times.
Wow.
Because I want to know my perfect ideal client and I want to go after that.
Yeah.
So it's if you're starting a company, it can be a little bit wider. But as you continue to grow and your service becomes more valuable, you need to dial that in.
Yes.
Down to I gave an avatar a name. And family, and her family has names, like her family member's names.
Kids got names, yeah.
And so this is my perfect client.
That's so wise. Okay, so what's your like favorite client story, case study that you guys have done? Doing, work for 13 years, I'm sure there's a million that you can think of off the top of your head, but what's one that kind of stands out of like, yeah, we're able to help this client however much?
So I do have a client. We have a pediatrician, and when she came on with us, she was the sole doctor at her practice. And so she came on with us. How long ago was that? 9 years ago?
Wow.
It's been a while. And when she came on, she was just starting out. We were doing new website, new everything. And over those 9 years, she's been able to add on 5 other doctors to her practice. And the growth and just the relationship growth and seeing her build trust with us over those 9 years has been insane.
Wow.
Just anything we say, she's like, I completely trust you. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
And it usually works out in her favor.
Yeah.
But I think that physically being able to see a practice grow from 1 doctor to 6 has been crazy.
Because that's huge. That means that literally, like, I don't know the capacity of 1 doctor, but it's like, hey, listen, like, I cannot handle enough. I have to, to bring 5 more on. And
one more thing too. So her last doctor she brought on, she wanted to promote the doctor and all those things. Well, right before she was going to bring the doctor on, the doctor was booked out, so we didn't promote it.
The marketing was already working.
Yeah.
My gosh.
So they now are probably going to bring on another doctor. Her issue has been finding the right doctors to bring on now.
Wow.
Because she's so busy. So the best clients, we rarely hear from them.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
That's a good problem to have. And no, that's so, what do you think attributes to that? Like, what do you think's been the secret sauce to like getting that ROI for those clients? And this could be advice, not just from people who own marketing firms, but even just people who have businesses that are like, all right, where do I start with like marketing for myself?
Consistency is huge. And so consistency, and we do blogs for her for SEO value purposes. She also doesn't have her hand in any of the marketing. So complete trust, which I know can be hard when you hand things off, especially at the beginning. Obviously have your eye on analytics and things. Yeah. But she trusts us. And so with that, we've been able to be consistent for her. And it's just been insane. I think too, a lot of people try to do the DIY marketing and try to do it themselves. And I was actually talking to a business owner today, and he was like, why would I try to learn that when there's other people out there that can do it better than me? Yeah. And that's not my job as a business owner. Yes. Marketing isn't my job as a business owner. And so I think the DIY marketing can work at first if you have a really small budget. But as you grow, please create a marketing budget. Yes. Where you can either outsource or create a marketing team in-house, which there's problems that I can go into with that. But your budget, as your business grows, your marketing budget has to grow.
Yes.
So
at the same pace that you want it to grow.
Exactly.
And I think, I mean, there's so many great things that you said with that. One, to your last point of, I think, again, in the beginning stages, yeah, you are, wearing all the hats. But at some point you outgrow that. And it's like, okay, I'm either going to do it and whatever my skill level is, that's the cap for this business, or I bring someone in.
Yep.
And I think it's good for you to have a knowledge of, okay, here's how this works. Here's what these metrics should be.
Right.
Like you should have a good understanding, because I've seen people get gypped and like get just robbed out of their money from people who like sell a pipe dream. Really.
Unrealistic expectations. Yes. If you feel like a marketing company is coming to you and giving you unrealistic expectations, believe it. Like, I will never tell someone we're going to get you 10 new clients in the first month. It's just not going to happen like that. No. That's why I give the 90 days and I'm like, okay, then we'll start to see a few leads come in.
Exactly.
Then we'll be able to target in your target market.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I would just say if it sounds too good to be true, it is.
It is. Yeah. Yes. I was similar to you. I've switched my lane more to video, but I came from marketing.
Yeah.
And man, I coined myself as the honest guy, and so honest that I lost deals because I was like, I'm not going to tell you what you want me to tell you. What you want me to tell you is like, all right, when am I going to get all my money back? And I'm like, we have to test, and don't even look at anything for 90 days. Yes. And I probably could have massaged it better, but I just got so tired of people asking. I'm just like, it's like, no, like, yeah, this guy, like, and I would try to warn people, like, I don't know about this guy. Like, he's promising a lot. Yeah. I don't know if he can deliver. And sure enough, going back to the first point you said, and I would love for you to get into this more, because how many times I've worked with companies that were like a few months in, it's working.
Right.
But it just might not be working fast enough of what they want.
Or as much as they want.
Or they hear from somebody else of like, oh, I heard that this strategy works better. Or it's like, and it's like you strategy hop. And it's like, you never let one thing just give time and let it run. And it's like, we only got a 3-month runway. And if it doesn't work in that 3 months, then, we're closing shop, or we got to try something else. And I think we do ourselves an injustice by not. I'd love for you to talk about that, the consistency part, because I honestly think for business owners, again, any Faith Hustle people watching this, if you have a business, like, this is actually super key in whatever marketing effort you're doing of this.
Yeah, I think you said strategy hop. I've seen business owners run their business into the ground doing that.
Yes.
Where
I know a business that went out of business doing that. Yes.
Yes. And if there's getting some traction, you're getting some leads in, keep doing what you're doing. I would say for at least 6 months.
Yes.
And at then least. If for whatever reason nothing's grown since then let's reevaluate. But you have to give it time, and people don't want to be patient.
No.
They want instant gratification. They want to happen right then, right now. And that's just not how it works, especially now in marketing, because a lot of people are SEOing their websites. A lot of people are now posting video on social media. Yeah. And so the one thing that is going to outdo the other companies is consistency.
Yeah. You're just going to last longer than the other guys.
Consistency and also good quality.
Yeah. You got to be good too. Yeah.
And so you have to consistently put out good quality strategies.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I mean, even with Faith Hustle, like that's our goal here. It's like, hey, listen, like, we're always going to improve. There's little things that we're going to do. We'll get better cameras. We'll get better gear. We'll get more lights, all this different stuff. But the best thing we can do is put out the best product that we can consistently over time.
Yep.
And like, even in the little amount of time that we've been doing it, it's been cool to see like, oh, if you just like stay at it.
Yeah.
Like even going weekly for our podcast, I know people who do it every other week or once a month or whenever they can.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're like, man, why is my podcast not growing? It's like, well,
you're not being consistent.
You're not being consistent. It's like, it for the audience, I think sometimes we just I feel the Holy Ghost in this. Somebody gonna get help. I think we assume, we have the assumption that people should just hop on whatever we do, and that whatever we put out, like they should, we can be inconsistent, and people should gravitate to what we're doing, what we're putting out there, and that they should just click on whatever we put out. It's like no, like no one's obligated to get to buy anything from you just because you've been around long enough. I've had so many people like, man, I have so much experience, man. Like people would just be like, why aren't they knocking down my door? It's like, you're assuming that they know you.
Or the businesses are like, I've been in business since 1935. And I'm like, I don't think anyone really cares.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, and you're not being consistent on any kind of marketing strategy whatsoever.
Yes.
And so they can't really get to know you and your company.
And that's the definition of pride.
Yeah.
Like personified. Yeah. It's like have the humility pillar.
Yeah.
That someone don't assume that they know you. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget this. When I first met John Maxwell, I say when I first met him. I've only met him once. To be fair.
I didn't even know you met John Maxwell.
Mukwenda.
It was at
I'm like, drop that bomb.
It was at
Is he on next week? Is he on next week?
I call him Johnny.
When I met John.
Yeah, you know John, right? John. Yeah. No. But
wow.
it was at an event. It was at a church, and they had like this breakfast thing with him that you could pay for. So and honestly, it wasn't that much comparatively. And so I paid for the extra to do this like breakfast, and there was like 50 other people in the room. And he talked, and he signed a book for me and all this different stuff. But he went around the room beforehand, and he's shaking hands. He literally shook my hand and said, "Hey, how you doing? My name's John Maxwell. Nice to meet you." I'm like, I know who you are. I paid money to be here because your name was on it. And it's like, duh, I know who you are. But it's like, he never assumed that I knew.
Right.
And I was like, man, that I could have left right there and had all the leadership lessons that I needed to know.
Yeah.
And that statement right there, you did not assume.
Right.
I was like, man, that is.
And I have met business owners that assumed that I knew who they were. Actually,
that is the worst.
I went to a business conference, and the lady who ran the conference, I was invited by my mom.
Yeah.
And I guess she assumed I knew who she was, and I asked my mom, her name was Allison. I was like, who's Allison? And she comes up, and my mom was like, yeah, laughing, like, Tori didn't really know who you were. And she was like not okay with it. And I was like, yeah, just like trying to laugh, and it was just really awkward.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never want to get to that point, because then that's when you stop serving people.
Yes.
And so I always want to serve people. That's the thing I love about, I love being an evangelist. Like that is like my favorite thing.
Come on.
And so I never want to get to that point.
I mean, it's being Christ-like.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yep.
It's like, look how, lowly and meek Jesus lived his life. Mm-hmm. He literally didn't come in on a horse. He came in riding on a donkey. Like he did everything opposite of what the Son of God we think will do. And it's like, he came to show us like, hey, the greatest among you is the servant, like the least, it's like, and I think sometimes that bites us in the butt as, it does not matter how many years in business you've been in, how long you've been in your field,
how successful you are.
No one owes you anything.
Yep.
No one owes you anything. It's like, you have to come with a level of like, hey, I'm here to serve. You may not know my name, but I'm going to earn your business, earn your trust. And I'm going to do it by my effort, by my work. Yeah. And like, it's just, it's something that's got to get fixed.
I agree. But I think that as we're talking, I love that you're doing this podcast, because as we get to talk about this as business owners, we can hopefully show other business owners that you can serve God well as an entrepreneur in business. You can serve God well as a high executive in a business. You don't even have to own a business.
Yeah.
And so I just love that you're doing this.
And what I'm trying to, and thank you.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to get at too is that it's not just you can, it's actually profitable.
Right.
Like it actually
Yes.
like works.
Yes.
You know, like and there's real life examples of this in 2024 of people doing that. And the principles of God work. Like, you know, and I love Tony Robbins. No, there's no offense to Tony Robbins. But like he'll be like, man, you gotta just love people.
Yeah.
You gotta be, and people are like, oh my gosh, take my money. Oh my, what a concept.
But as soon as you throw Jesus into there, it's like crickets.
It's just like it's just the scriptures without the scripture itself. It's like it's the same principle. And
exactly.
So, okay, the one thing I did want to touch on as we're kind of coming to a close here.
Mm-hmm.
One thing again that I admire about you that I know cannot be an easy feat. Again, you're coming into a business that your parents started, right?
Mm-hmm.
That your mom started. And you've taken on a huge level of responsibility. When I first met with your dad, he was like, hey, Tori's the boss. He was like, I just do what she tells me to do. Yeah. And that cannot be easy because, again, you guys run a very, I mean, I don't know how much, if you want to go into numbers or anything like that, but you guys run a very profitable, like, well-run agency.
Yeah.
And that can't be, you're 29, 30? 29.
Just turned 29.
Come
Last
on.
year in my
Come
20s.
on. I'm about to be 28. I'm coming up.
Can y'all relax, please? Okay.
We're not going to say how old Jason is.
I'll be 37 this year. Okay. Can y'all relax? Okay.
Hey, you're thriving.
Okay.
Thriving 37.
Okay. I'm turning back down now.
But anyways, I said that to say it doesn't go without saying that is a hard thing. I mean, for anyone to take over what somebody else started, or to take a lot of influence or leadership in. How has the Lord led you in that? What has been the things that has helped, and what, you know? I'm just curious what that process has been.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because as driving out here, the Holy Spirit was talking to me about that is something that you need to speak on and be truthful about.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's some backstory too. I think a year ago, I did not think I was going to be in this position of taking over the company. My parents came to me at the end of 2023 in October, and they were ready to exit, and they said 3-year plan at that time. And so I was like, oh, I thought this was going to be like an 8-year thing. And so I was like, okay.
I was thinking like a decade plan. Yeah.
And so some context on that too. At that same exact time, my husband and I just started the process of opening our own CrossFit gym.
Which, congratulations. I've been seeing some of the openings and some of the advertisement on it. That's awesome.
So I think that at the time I was like, why is this timing happening right now? And then fast forward to January, all of a sudden they want to exit at the end of the year of 2024.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So January, we're sitting with we have mentors.
Yeah.
So we're sitting with our mentors, and now it is the end of the year. They want to be off the org chart completely. Wow. I'm in the CEO role. They're not. My mom wants to be an advisor.
Yeah.
And so getting her off the org chart. So at that time, we're full in the gym business. And I'm like, okay, so I am now going from zero ownership of any company to owning 2 companies.
Wow.
In a matter of like months.
Yeah.
And so at first I did express this, that the number one thing I needed to work on was confidence, and my confidence that I can do it. But more so, God has been working on me. And I just said this to a friend recently, that I don't have to do it by myself. It's not on my shoulders. I was putting everything on my shoulders. And recently I just laid that at the feet of Jesus. And I was like, you can handle this. I can't handle this.
Yes.
And so I handed that to him. And since then I have had confidence, but I've still been dealing with imposter syndrome in the way of, I don't feel that I am qualified in ways to speak as like a business owner yet.
Yeah.
And people will ask me for advice. They're asking me for marketing advice, which I am qualified for.
Isn't it crazy though? You could be doing it for years and be like, I don't know what I'm saying.
Yes.
So it's like you do, but it's like you It's crazy.
And they're asking me for marketing advice, and most marketing experts don't want to give advice because they don't want to give away the book. My thing is am I qualified to actually give you this advice? And yes, absolutely I am, but it's been a struggle to have that confidence. And then I also sat down and prayed the other day, and I asked God what he wanted to speak to me, and that I've been dealing with this. And he told me that I need to start confessing this to other people. And I was holding it in the dark.
Wow.
And so I've started being more open about it to people. I actually texted you about it. And I was like, and that was the Holy Spirit. Like, you need to tell people about this, because this is not something you can walk in alone.
Yeah.
And so that has been something recently that I've been doing, is confessing that this is something that I'm struggling with. Wow. And I've only seen the fruit of that. Yeah. Honestly, I told Miss Lorraine about it today. And so that's my brother's wife's mom. And man, she just spoke life over me.
Oh, she's a prayer warrior.
Yeah.
Miss Lorraine, we love you.
We love you so much. And so by confessing that, I had life spoken over me, and it was just like, whoa, like, this is amazing. And so I think if anyone is struggling in business or whatever it is, don't leave it in the dark. It's easy to confess to God when you're by yourself.
Yes.
When you confess to others is when you bring it to light, and when you can actually stop standing in truth with that.
Yes.
And you can start actually working on what you're going through.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, scripture says, confess your sins one to another. Not that you be saved, but you be healed.
Yep.
And it's like healing comes in the, hey, I'm going through this. I'm having these doubts. It's like, okay, like we that almost like that acknowledgement and that confession of it. I don't know what happens or how God does it, but it starts to do something in there. I think genuinely it's like only those in scripture, like when Jesus was walking, that confessed their need of a savior got a healing. Yeah. And it's like those who were like, like if someone didn't think that they didn't need healing, it's like, oh, you didn't get healed. It's like, but those are like, no, I need you. I'm out of my league. It's like, you're qualified.
And I think too, coming from a family of individuals that are very competitive and very self-sufficient, we have a lot of issues asking for help. Yes. And so that is something that's pride.
Most entrepreneurs, I would say. Yeah.
And so I have really, really, really tried to work on asking, hey, this is what I'm going through. Will you pray for me? Before this year, I've never been prayed over by asking. Wow. And so this year, I have really, really tried to ask the people in my circle for that. Yeah.
I love that for you. And obviously, you and I was already encouraging you on the voice note of that you are qualified and God's hands on your life.
And that was life being spoken over to me. And you would have never known that if I didn't say anything.
I would have never known. Yeah. No. And I think, so many people deal with it. I for myself, I mean, this podcast, whatever, I still am like, man, like, why are people subscribed? Do I know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's like, it's like, that's just the enemy all over again. It's those seeds of doubt, And I think if we can, one, just acknowledge that we all go through it, then it's like, okay, then this is not, I'm not a special case. Yep. Right? Like, it's not uncommon, one. And God has used people just like that. Moses literally was like, saw a burning bush, and God said, go. He said no to God. He's like, I can't talk. And it's like, it's like, so we are not, again, a special case of we're the only ones who deal with that. But we can think that. I think if this is any encouragement for anyone watching, is like, everybody's faking it. Yeah. No one knows what they're doing until you get into it. And it's like, just trust the Lord. I heard that a quote once is like, courage is in the face of fear saying yes. Yeah. It's like, it's not that the fear will not come. It's just like, you just decide, I'm going to choose courage over fear. Yeah. That's so interesting you say that too, because with the gym too, we're at the point where we wanted to have some sort of ministry. And so this was a big driving factor. My husband came to me and said he wanted to open a gym. I said,
no. And then he said, let's pray about it. And I'm like, you're right. We should probably pray about it.
Yeah.
So I prayed about it, and I was like, God's going to confirm. And and you put God in a box, and he always breaks it open. And so he absolutely showed us this is the exact path that we should be on, and to fill the gym with the Holy Spirit. And so one of the things that we're doing in the gym space is it's going to be called the Lion's Den. And I think a lot of people who don't know the Bible will assume it's you go in there and you go all out and you conquer the den and all these things. And it's really just you conquer the den by having your full faith in Jesus, just like Daniel did when he was thrown in the lion's den. So with courage, it's really putting all your faith in God. Yeah. And that's what gives you the courage. It's not on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. And I think what encouraged me as we're coming to a close here, what encourages me of you stepping into all these new things, the 2 businesses within a matter of months, all these different things, it's like our courage comes from his voice. Yeah. Like if he said yes, that's your stamp. And you have to literally like confess one to another, ask for prayer and help from the Holy Spirit, and just in the face of fear, just do it anyways. Yeah. And realizing that like you are going to hear that voice of that imposter syndrome. Absolutely. And it's like, as long as you just don't let it stop you, you know? And it's like, because, you know, there's the emotion of fear and then there's the spirit of fear, right? Yeah. God gave us our emotions. They're not evil, right? If we didn't have the emotion of fear, we would just walk off a cliff, right? Yes. But the spirit of fear is like when it inhibits you from moving. Yep. And so we haven't been given a spirit of fear, according to Timothy, but power, love, and a sound mind. And so it's like we can just confess the word and say, no, God, I thank you. You've given me a spirit of power, love, and I can't tell you the times in my car I'm screaming at the top of my lungs scripture, and I got worship because I'm literally drowning out all the voices that are like, you can't do this and that, and who would buy this from you? And it's like every time, and it's like we have to combat that with the word. That's our approach. And so
I do that with worship music. I just turn it all the way up. I can't hear anything else.
Drown it out however you can.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, Tori, thank you so much for being on the show, for real.
Thank you.
It's going to help so many people. I mean, people in all stages of life, but specifically those who are maybe in a family business or taking on something that's new. I think it really encouraged people. So just thank you. Thank you so much
for having me.
Absolutely. And you will be back again. We got to hear the updates when the gym opens. When does the gym open, by the way?
May 18th.
May 18th. Oh, man, that's coming. Okay, what's it called? Just if anybody lives in the Weatherford area.
Yeah, it's called CrossFit Rev. It stands for Revelation.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, so it's coming May 18th. I'm so excited. This is just like a way to reach people. Their guard comes down when they work out. Yeah. And then they're more open, and it's just been amazing. We've seen so many people come to Christ in our circle.
Come on. Yeah. I love it. And then Life in Motion Marketing. Yep. That's their firm if you want to reach out to them. I'll put all their information below, but thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Absolutely. It was awesome.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of the Faith Hustle Podcast. We hope it encouraged you, equipped you, and got you ready for your faith hustle. If this is something that resonates with you and you want to join this community, we encourage you to subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on YouTube or on any audio platform that you listen to. Also, subscribe to our email newsletter. We put out tips every week to help your business. And lastly, if this podcast has been any encouragement to you, we want to ask if you can leave a review for us. It really helps us to get to more people so more business owners can be impacted by the community and the message. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.